Hello,
Hello!
we're Luke and James.
Welcome aboard our adventure on Norwegian Prima.
This time, we sailed to Norway and Iceland on a 12-night cruise. In this episode, we sailed to Zeebrugge and Amsterdam. We embarked from Southampton on this adventure. Our disembarkation port is Reykjavik, so we had arranged a lift down to Southampton. And on our return, we'd be flying into London Luton with EasyJet. If you haven't done so already, check out our first video, the Norwegian Prima ship tour. So after embarkation, we decided to have a walk around the ship, get some food and settle in. Check out our room. So we had a full day in Southampton before we set sail at 5 p.m. This gave us plenty of time to explore the ship and see what was on offer. And before we knew it, it's our first evening for dinner. We decided to eat in the main dining room for the first evening. It was a little bit chaotic getting a table, but we only waited about 10 minutes or so. I had a bruschetta to start, followed by a prawn tagliatelle, and Luke had the southern fried chicken and an apple strudel. We were both really full by this point, so we decided on another walk around the ship. And as if by magic, we arrived the following morning into the port of Zeebrugge. So we decided we were going to walk to the coastal town of Blankenberg. We didn't realise at the time, but this was 4 miles, about an hour and a half walk. So off we went, and we'll see how we get on. It was a beautiful day for it. We ended up arriving at the beach, where we could see the town right in the distance. It was an amazing stretch of coastline that seemed to go on for miles and miles and miles and miles and miles and miles and miles. We eventually arrived into Blankenberg. So we had a lovely walk around the town, some of the shops. Luke made a new friend. And then we tried some Belgian fries with curry ketchup. I had the truffle mayo on mine. They were absolutely delicious. So after a big lunch, we stumbled across a flower show. These were sculptures made of thousands of flowers. Somebody really went to a lot of time and effort. And from there we headed up the main street and found the station, where we came across one of our favourite things to do, was pose for a big sign. By this time we realised time was really clocking on.
Back to the ship!
And we kind of accidentally started walking back, and before we knew it we were about half an hour in. So we decided another hour wasn't going to do us any harm. Our step count was somewhere in the 30,000s. So after a really shattering day, we decided the best thing to do was lounge in the hot tub, where we had a good rest and relaxed, and then got refreshed ready for dinner. And after dinner we decided to head to the observation lounge just to check out the sunset, and then went to the theatre to watch magician J. Alexander. We're not usually a fan of magicians. Luke tends to spot the tricks before they happen, but the show was okay. That theatre is such an incredible versatile venue. The seats even go back ready to turn into a nightclub later on. By this point we clearly wouldn't make a nightclub, so off to bed it was. Night night. And just like that, we arrived into Amsterdam the following morning, where we docked about 5 minutes walk from the main station, and then about another couple of minutes into town. We knew it was going to be a bit more of an easier day today, with all that walking we'd done the previous. So we were out nice and early. So we decided to stroll through some of the back streets, over the bridges, canals, and really get to know Amsterdam. The good side of Amsterdam we mean, and it's not all about what you hear. We were here at quite a low season, but the weather was still really nice. The people were really nice too. We took ages exploring, taking photos, and we took some really nice arty shots. Really love the reflections in the water on the canals. And you can't beat the architecture on the buildings here. So this was around 9:30, so there wasn't many people about. It was just a really nice quiet time to explore, and the majority of residents were already at work. We love all the different houseboats, and apparently there's about 750 alone in the city. What a perfect place to stay with weather like this. So you can't come to Amsterdam without seeing a bicycle or two, and there's a staggering 800,000 here, and with over 300 miles of bike lanes. Another site of Amsterdam is the famous flower market, right in the centre. There's so many bulbs to choose from. It was a really hard choice to pick some favourites to take home. After exploring a little more, we decided to walk to the Rijksmuseum, about a 10-minute walk from the flower market, and on the way we spotted some really cool arty things like these amazing posters and this beautiful little house. This was in the middle of a little green fenced off area, right in the middle of the busy city. And here we are, the Rijksmuseum. This is the National Museum of the Netherlands, and is home to a lot of Dutch art and history, with a couple of Van Gogh paintings hung here too. We loved exploring the gardens here. Everything was in full bloom. There was plenty of seating and water features, and a really good place for everyone to just hang out and relax and just take in the atmosphere. The groundskeepers here must work so hard to keep it impeccable. There's plenty of sculptures here too, which really add to it. A short walk from here was the Museumplein, which is a public park full of sculptures and also houses the Van Gogh Museum. Looks like we've made another new friend. Under the Rijksmuseum itself, there's some beautiful archways, which is a public right of way. And if you're lucky on the day you visit, you might just catch a performance there or two by some local musicians. So after the museum, we decided to explore the city a little more, have a look around some shops. We found the Tony's chocolate shop, which was full of every single flavour possible. And you could even create your own flavours too. And we took a few bars back to the ship with us. So before we knew it, it was time to set sail. And we didn't know it yet, but this was going to be our favourite part of the day. We set sail around 5:30, which was peak time rush hour. And coincidentally, people had stayed around after work to wave us off. We got an amazing send-off from the people of Amsterdam. Were you in the city that day? Thanks for the waves if you were. Can you spot yourselves? We were waving like absolute loons back at you. So off we go, down the Amstel River. There was so much to see here. So many boats leaving the city. It was a really busy time of the day. We just loved people watching and everyone waving at the ship as it passed by. It took about 20 minutes to get out of the city in total, but there was plenty of opportunities for photos along the way. The walk round deck is one of the best features on the Prima. The low-level balustrades all the way around make it really easy to get a good view, and there's so much space here. There's also a fantastic amount of different seating, so if you don't want to stand, there's loads of room to sit. We passed by some really amazing buildings. It was almost like a mini river cruise. Oh look, it's the Azamara Pursuit coming in. Give us a wave! We had a bit of a horn battle down the river. It was great. So after about 45 minutes we were into the countryside, where we got to take in some really iconic sights of the Netherlands, like lots of wind turbines, the odd windmill or two, and some of the really lovely little villages along the banks of the Amstel River. She looks like a monster. I wonder what the locals thought as we cruised by. Hello, Jan and Gretel. We're nearly out to sea now. We just love the Prima's outside areas. Because the inside areas were so compact, the outside space just felt like a breath of fresh air. The ship was at capacity when we sailed, which meant the inside seating areas filled up really quickly, but there was loads of space on the outside in an evening. We're nearly out to sea, but there's a surprise in store. After about an hour of sailing out from the city, the captain came on the radio and announced, "We're going through the world's largest sea lock." So after a bit of a wait for a cargo ship to come through, it was the Prima's turn. Alright, keep the noise down. Yay, another horn battle. So here we go, the largest sea lock in the world. The Prima looked tiny in here, and so many people on the ship came out to watch it go through. It took about 10 minutes to fill, and you could see the Prima slowly rising. It was so much fun. And before we knew it, we were heading out to sea. And on our way to our next adventure, Norway. Join us next time when we go to Stavanger to revisit our first ever cruise port. Norwegian Fjords, where we trek high into the fjords. And Ålesund to have the best port view ever. Thanks for watching! If you've enjoyed this adventure, don't forget to give it a like. And if you'd like to see more of us, hit that subscribe button. It really helps to grow our channel. See you next time.